Ladies and gentlemen, the Adult Baby Show.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Adult Babies Podcast, episode 168. I am B.
I'm Chick.
And boy, do we have a guest here tonight. Comedian James Raniolo.
What's up, fellas? How are you? Thanks for having me, man.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I don't know if you guys will be able to hear, but there's drilling going on outside of the apartment.
There's a little jackhammer right now.
Yeah.
I feel like we live in the middle of the city right now.
Guys breaking into a safe next door.
Yeah. There's a bank robbery happening next door.
They're actually making B's apartment handicap accessible for him.
No, they're doing it for you. I set this up for you. He needs some help getting up the stairs. So, yeah, the neighbor. I want to speak a little quiet. The neighbor next door is because I hear everything they say, is getting a what do you call it? A stair chair installed. Right. So now there's
I made that up. I just said because I know it's a chair. I'm just assuming that's what it is.
Yeah. So it's getting installed. So now in my hallway I have.
Are you going to use it?
No.
Is that frowned upon?
I mean, it's probably poor taste. You know what I'm saying? But then again, I don't know. Does she have a key? Is it?
Yeah, I don't know how it works.
Code encrypted? Can anyone just use it? You know, is it just
once it's there? Is it it's like
it's for
your
the whole
phone
apartment.
where it's you put your finger on it and then it registers?
Plus, if this building had a ramp or something, you can still use the ramp. You know, so
that's true. And I bring in my the Poland Spring water bottles, and maybe I could just put them on, bring them up.
Oh, it's a new way to carry things.
Yeah, carry
just
my
put
groceries.
Your groceries on the thing.
Yes,
that could be a very good. That's good for it's good for everybody.
Yeah, no, it might work out for everybody. I don't think Neil Rubenstein will get back up here because he had a problem with getting up these stairs the first time.
But now he's good. So you're saying he can?
Oh, yeah.
He could sit in the chair if he has to.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. I don't know.
It's just so over the top. I'm sorry. It's
I know.
So funny.
By the way, there's a good chance. We've had issues like this before while recording, and you don't hear it. So there's a good chance that you guys don't hear the jackhammer going on in the background.
But it is very apparent to us. It's not like it's subtle. You hear it.
It's
the floor is shaking.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt. And I told you guys, I was off today, and this has been happening all day. So
I love when it's a day that you're off.
Dude, it was so frustrating because I have 1 day off or 2 days off now. But I want to do
every other human.
No, well, usually 1 day, but it's gonna go back to 1 day soon. So I have to get all my stuff done. I'm doing my laundry at my parents' house, so I'm just going in and out of the place, and there's just tools and crap there. And then I come back, I take a shower, I walk out of my bathroom naked, and there's 2 construction workers on the roof. They're tarring the roof, fixing a leak. So I was trapped all day. It was ridiculous.
You want to know what I find funny is because I wouldn't be as uncomfortable in that situation as you because the way I look at it is I'm in my own humble abode. You know, if you want to see my disgusting naked ass,
that's on you, exactly.
That's
on
you.
That's what you get for being on my roof.
That's what you get for being on my roof.
I don't
Where you would run and hide for the rest of the day.
I hid because I didn't know where to because both windows were open. Because it was a nice day.
I'd spin that chair towards him and start jerking off.
I would make it. I'm with James here. I would make it as uncomfortable for them as possible.
I'm too ashamed of myself. So I hid, and then finally, it was terrible. It was a terrible scene happening here today. But
well, something similar happened to me yesterday, like that, but not naked. I was in my backyard with. I was just watching some TV on my iPad, rolling up a joint.
Yes, you do.
And the pool guy just comes running through the backyard, and he walks past me. He's like, "Oh, nice!" And now that's And then he goes away. He starts doing what he's doing. My father walks out. And now I'm like, he ain't gonna be happy that I'm doing this, even though the pool guy don't care.
All pool guys smoke pot, though.
So
that's
a part
of the job
he's
description.
Dude, I love my pen, bro. And he's like, trying to talk to me about it. So
Jesus. Yeah, well, listen, it happens.
You just got to embrace weird things.
I know. I try to for the most part, but I get a little awkward. But anyway, I don't know where this podcast is going to go tonight because James Raniolo, you're a bourbon drinker, right?
I am a bourbon drinker.
You're a bourbon drinker. I see you drink bourbon all the time. I've seen you drink it at multiple places. So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna drink. I want to get into bourbon. You know, I drink Guinness, but like I want. There's something classy about it, right?
People who drink bourbon like. Is it one of those where I drink bourbon?
Not really. It's I find that like because it's in like the whiskey family.
Okay.
I find Scotch drinkers are like that.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
like that's a different like kind of thing.
Yeah.
I want to say, but other than that, it's really like I don't like I was saying like with the craft beer, it's like I know what I like, but I don't know why I like it. You know what I mean? Like so I know, you know, this is all trial and error. You know, so I tried it once and I enjoyed it, so that's just what I had. You know, I just
I'm enjoying like so. I got a bottle of Knob Creek. It wasn't your first choice.
Right.
You know, the adult babies will get close to what you want, but not exactly.
What was your first choice?
It was called Rebel Yell.
Rebel Yell.
Rebel Yell, and it was just something I found by just shopping for just like a bottle. It was like I think it was like the very beginning of like the lockdown, whatever. So I was like stocking up.
Yeah.
And but I found and I'm like, this is a perfect opportunity for me to sample some stuff. So I was gonna buy a few like cheaper bottles, and one of them was just Rebel Yell. It was $20, and I took one sip of it, and it was amazing.
Really?
And I remember I didn't even realize that what it was, but so
$20 too. It's like
Is bourbon an expensive drink of choice? I mean, I guess every bottle can be.
I guess
at
you can
its
get like
finest,
you can
but
get expensive bottle. I don't know. You would know.
But
better
generally speaking,
yeah, I think it would spike higher than like a vodka or
Okay.
or a rum would because like a, you know if it's aged the way it's aged and
Alright,
the process whatever I want to say yes, but Scotch especially. But again, like I said, I don't know the
Yeah,
I don't know
I
the
got
extent
you, I
of it.
got
You
you.
don't know the Scotch. Well, yeah, we're working on a bottle of Knob Creek here tonight, so I don't know, you know, what's going to happen. Usually, I'm a
gonna
I
couple
love
We're
the
gonna
beers.
go
names of these
places.
still. Rebel
I know.
Yell, Knob Creek.
I know. Yeah, but it does. I do feel like extra fancy tonight. I got, you know,
Now-
ice in there.
When I saw you
don't know
guys
what
get
it
your
makes me-
glasses ready, and I'm like, all right, they're really classing it up. I was thinking it's almost the same way to drink Scotch, though, right? It's very similar, just a different.
Yeah, I mean, it's the way I see it. It was just like you don't want to have too much in there because then it's just going to water down with the ice. You know, I don't know.
So
if
that's the whole thing, right?
like
Just
I think it's
one
supposed to
cube?
cover the ice or whatever. I think
Okay.
that's how it's supposed to do. But like here we have 2 cubes. At some places it's just ice chips, and then there's places like Alibi that gives you like this fucking cube, which is amazing.
Big
Like
one,
it's
rock.
really,
What's
you
the
know,
ideal? That's the idea. Like the ideal one is a big cube that
I
doesn't
seem
really
to
melt.
I seem to enjoy like the 2 cubes the best. I don't know why. It's the volume wise, it's the same amount of booze. They're still pouring the ounce or whatever it is in there, so it's
Okay.
not like I'm losing anything.
Yeah.
But for some reason, something about that one cube just hitting my teeth. I don't like too much.
It
you know,
keeps
like,
knocking the front
And I like
teeth.
chewing on ice, and I get a little dehydrated. So you know, if I chew on the ice, you know what I'm saying? Like
This is like your water between a drink.
exactly. If I get a little cotton mouth, I just pop a cube out, and I just kind of it's got a built-in whatever. So that one big cube is like
Yeah.
I don't know if I
Tink,
like the
tink.
chips. Chips to me
chips will melt too quickly,
They
yeah.
melt, and then it's just watered down. Whatever
Yeah,
you're
because
drinking.
this is like a slow. I do like the chips in like a like Coke, like Coca-Cola. Like
Yeah, no, I hear you.
I like a like the crushed ice. I do like that. There's a certain crushed ice. They're like tiny little balls that I love, but it's only for like Coke because I'll drink it fast.
Why haven't they figured out a way to chill a drink without there being any water in it? Like, you know, like a cube that doesn't melt. Or
I
like,
think they have something like that. They have like
you know what I mean? Like one that's, I don't want to say in plastic, but almost like the cube is under. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like,
I think there's been stuff that
it's been
that's
like it's like old
that,
picnic
right?
technology where it's like there's a plastic like inside plastic. There's like a liquid, and you freeze the cup, and the
Yes.
liquid inside the liquid inside the layers
yes,
freeze, and now boom, you just pour it in,
Yeah.
and it's cold.
that's exactly.
But is part of like having a bourbon, is it like the ice slowly melting too? Is that part of the process?
I drink it too fast.
Yeah.
There's always ice left. Like I don't. Again, I know what I like. I don't know why.
Yeah.
All right. Like I can be honest with you. I loved IPAs. I really tried to lose weight, and as much as I was eating right and exercising, I'm still down in like 6 IPAs in a night, and then I wonder why I'm not losing any weight. So it was like, all right, so I did like 30 days just without drinking, and I told myself if it gets that bad, I'll have a whiskey instead. And I made it like pretty much the entire time. I think it was like someone's birthday I forgot about 20 days in, so I did a shot, but that was it.
It's tough when you're doing comedy. Like we're out every night having a couple beers.
Yeah, I have expensive taste.
Yeah, and you're having a couple of bourbons.
But do you find you drink less of these so it almost evens out?
Yes, as far as like a drunk level goes, yes. And because I also know, like, again, I'm not out partying. Sometimes I do overdo it at the mics, but I have like a 4 comic to 1 drink ratio rule that I go by. So for every 4 comics, I won't allow myself to have another one until, like, depending on where I am on the list.
Okay, I got
So if I'm third, I'm just having the 1.
Yes.
If I'm 12th,
only
I'm like
3.
I'm like 3 deep by the time I get up there, and it can get a little interesting. You know, like, at that point, I'm just hammered, and that's normally like the set where I'm just roasting everybody else, and I don't say anything new.
Which is my favorite James Raniolo. but you'll do multiple mics a night though.
Yes.
Or shows, whatever you. And so does it work the same way? Like, you know, do you still the rule of 4? If you do one show at 7, one show at 10, how's that work?
It kind of
Or you just get hammered by the second
it kind
show?
of resets a little bit because I try not to get too wasted at the first one because I have to. Excuse me. Because I have to go to the second one.
Yeah.
So Alibi, I'll have like 2, or I'll have one of those and like a Stella or something, and then I'll go, and that's.
So it's like a nice little pregame.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Wow.
So.
Now, so are you mostly a Long Island comic, or are you a city guy as
Pretty
well?
much exclusively Long Island.
Exclusively Long Island. All right.
So I met you, I think, at the now defunct Ziggy's, right?
Yeah.
The now defunct.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. I hope it comes back in some way. But you're a guy that, and I said this many times on stage, like, when I first met you, I was like, I could be best friends with this guy. Like, I liked you from the first time I saw you. I was like, you're funny. You're fun off stage. You're just one of those guys.
Exactly. It was when we first started seeing each other. I'm like, how have we not known each other forever?
Yes.
Like, how have we not been friends? Like, it's.
Yeah, and it was probably it was not long. It was like probably right after the whole quarantine stuff, right?
Yeah, when I started coming to Alibi because
So this is a new budding relationship.
Yeah,
This
this
is
is a new relationship.
bromance. This is a new
Nice.
a new bromance. That's
we don't break out the whiskey for just anybody. No, but you're always you're just a funny comic too. When did you start? I don't even know your whole story.
September 2017 was the first time I started doing open mic. I did a show prior to that, like once, but other than that, like September 2017 again at Ziggy's. That's my home bar. It's where I've always hung out there, and it was one of those things where I always wanted to get into stand-up comedy, but like literally anything else in my life, I won't actively pursue it. Yeah. It has to.
I know people.
It has
like
to. I know. It has to literally. It has to literally come right by me, and then even then, I got to choose to go.
You got to get like
You know what I'm saying? Like right.
on it.
You know what I'm saying? I guess I'll lean forward and grab it. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's me. And stand-up comedy's always been one of those things. And I was just at Ziggy's on a Monday night, and Steve Perillo and a few of the guys they were up there doing they were up there doing the mic, and it was like their first or second time doing the mic.
Yeah.
So I go up to Steve and I'm just like, hey man, how do I get in on this? He goes, oh, you just show up next week.
Just be here. Yeah.
And that was it. And that was it. And
I love it.
And I wrote.
You're like, I was gonna be here anyway. Okay. I'm
yeah.
in.
So I wrote. It worked out for everyone exactly. No, it's funny. It's like normally I wasn't really hitting the bars every single night, but I was like kind of a Giants fan. Like I'm not really a big sports fan, but I was following the Giants, and they just happened to have the Monday night game, and it was an excuse for me to go out. So I was just
at
sitting
Ziggy's.
There. Yeah. So I was just watching Monday Night Football.
A lot of sports is just an excuse for people to go out.
That was a big chunk of it. You know,
I know a lot of people. Like I do like sports, but like I know a lot of friends that are like, you going out for the game tonight? I'm like, I am. You want to join along to drink with me? Because you know,
all my friends do the same thing. Like if they invite me out to watch, they just know I'm just there for the hang. Like don't ask me any questions. I'm not gonna pay attention. Stop. Like
it's good that you don't pretend to like. No, it's like
they're well aware. They're well aware of.
It's
what
very.
it is. But yeah, I did like my first 6 minutes, and everyone gave me the courtesy. Everyone looked forward and whatever, and that was pretty much it. And then I just started going every Monday. I didn't venture out of Ziggy's for about a year and a half.
Really?
Yeah, I was just kind of whatever. And then I started going to Jack's. I didn't even make it inside of Jack's for the first 2 times I went. I still have flashbacks of my anxiety attacks in the parking lot going, I can't do this, I can't do this.
Really?
I was really fucked up about it for a while. And then I took a little bit of time off. Like when I say time off, I mean like a month. Like I just stopped going to my 3 weeks.
Was it because you were so used to going up at Ziggy's where it was almost like too comfortable there?
Yeah, Ziggy's was my living room. So like, and it was basically like, for the most part, like my style of comedy isn't too far off of the things that I would just say conversationally with people.
Okay.
So it's like I'm just saying it over there instead of in the corner.
Yeah.
So it was like I'm still holding court at my bar, but it's just on stage, and it doesn't matter if you like.
So
it or
now
not,
when you're going to a different bar, it's like, who's there? This is not
right
my,
now.
yeah.
It's like, and it was just a whole different environment, and I got like anything else, you just get comfortable with and it's a whole different group of people.
Yes.
I saw maybe a few people there that I recognized, but there was a whole new group of people, and I was still like kind of doing that style where it was just like, I tell this joke, and then I tell this joke, and then I tell this joke, and this is the set, and this is the routine, and like there was something seemed very forced about it.
Yeah.
And I just didn't like the vibe. Plus, that the room, Jax as a room, kind of has to grow on you. I always say, it's like performing on the front of a bus.
Yeah, it's
because there's just like a hallway. There's people on either side, standing room only in the back. Half of you not paying attention. Like it's literally like being on a bus. Like it really
is it harder when people aren't paying attention?
It all depends.
Yeah, but
I feel like when you're just starting, sometimes it's easier that they're not really paying attention.
It's tough if you're early on in the set.
Okay.
On the list, if you see that they're not paying attention, you go into it with those low expectations, and you're just like, you know what? I'm going to do my entire 7 minutes to the minute. I might go over. Fuck you. Out of spite. You know what I'm saying? Whereas if people are paying attention and they're feeling you, you might end on a high laugh and you say, you know what, fuck it, I'm ending it. Yeah. You had a minute and a half left, but why waste?
Why go out in a bang?
Yeah,
I used to get really like. I still do sometimes.
He gets one laugh and then he walks off.
No. You're supposed to end on a laugh. That's why I walk off. No, I used to when I would do like the same routine, and if something didn't work and I would get nothing, I would freak out in my own head and start to you guys hate me. I'm sorry, and I still do that. You see me do that, but that used to be
you guys
a thing.
Hate me.
That used to be a thing. If they were just staring at me, which some people were just being polite, they're like, all right, I'm here, I'll pay attention.
Yeah,
which is
right.
Which is nice. It's like they didn't ask for this. We're here. They're here at a bar.
And this is now his thing. That's another wild card that kind of goes a little bit away. There's still a little bit here and there, but not as much as it was. So Jack's is right next door to Popeyes, which is a very popular restaurant. So a lot of times,
the seafood.
If somebody had to wait,
yes.
If someone had to wait a half hour, wait 15 minutes, so many people would be like, all right, we'll just run next door, grab a drink, whatever. And the way Jack's is set up, they walk in right next to you.
They walk in from behind you, like
and
it's like,
and it really always is like a comedian's nightmare. It's one of those things where it's like, I'm going to try out my new midget joke that night, and a midget walks in as you're about to say it. Like it was the worst.
And they're standing behind you, so everyone's like,
I've seen you do that about you. You were literally talking about a person one night, just ripping them apart, and then the guy walked in,
and then I'm like, there he is. I double down.
And the best part about something like that, when that happens, like. The audience, as in us, we see what's happening because he's coming in the door behind the comic. So and then the comic will see. It's just always great. So it's a fun dynamic, and Steve Rocco Perillo is just that guy. I can't say enough good stuff about him because he's kept this whole open mic stuff going.
He carried it. He carried
sure
it.
What, through the quarantine?
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Is he
and
somebody
beyond.
we can get on here?
Oh, yeah. We'll get Steve on.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's got great stories, too. Just even
Steve's great.
Whatever direction you take it in, like he's got niche interests also, but he also can tell you so much about comedy and things of that. He's great.
Very interesting. But yeah, we're definitely planning on getting him on because we're doing a lot of comics these days. I like it.
I like it too. I like hearing. I almost enjoy all these. I like to call you guys all the up and coming comics as opposed to the big celebs where I don't know these stories and
yeah, that makes sense. That's what we are. We're not the big celebs.
Yeah, no, we're not. We're the
But what I'm saying is it's just it's I like hearing this seeing this side of it because this is the more common story of comics than theirs.
Oh yeah, but they've all gone through it too.
Yeah,
and it's I think it's fun. It's fun to get all of you guys on here.
Yeah, and it's just kind of a different. It's a different route because we have social media, but we're not like. It's like the late '80s. It was like the goal, the end goal was to get a TV show.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the best ones got them. Seinfeld, Ray Romano, those guys, Roseanne. Ellen, everyone got their TV shows, and then that was it. Then they did their own thing.
They
now,
got their sitcom and
then
branched
it
out.
crashed for a while. Now it's like everyone's got a fucking Netflix special, so who gives a shit?
Yeah.
But
and now they're even moving to HBO Max specials and any streaming service.
But then there's just guys like us. At least this is how I see it here.
Yeah.
It's like there's enough of an economy here where it's like it depends on what you want for it, but in theory, you can thrive as a great comic just right in this general area. Just like there's enough people now where everyone in this, even myself,
I can see that. I agree with that.
You can say how many comics do you know that are just comics? Everyone's got a.
I
just recently started producing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But like everyone's a producer. Everyone's got a podcast.
Well, that's what I said.
Everyone does
Everyone's
whatever.
doing their own
Everyone's got their
shows
own
and
whatever. So and everyone's kind of their own enterprise now.
Yeah.
They are,
which is super cool. You know.
Yeah.
So. And everyone's got their own little cliques and crews, and we're like all get along with each other.
Yeah,
you know?
everybody.
So
like that's what I always say now. Like when I first started, Long Island wasn't as fun as it is now.
When did you start?
Well, I started in 2013, but I only went up for the next 3 years, maybe like once a month. And I would go to the city to do it.
So you didn't really do open mics per se?
No,
like
I
the way
did
you do
bringer
them now?
shows.
Oh, so you just...
I did bringer shows.
So your only form of practice was just to do these shows? Like
Yeah.
you didn't
It was a
really-
terrible way of doing it, but that's how I... And then finally, one I met somebody, and she took me to, a few different shows in the city, open mics in the city. And then same thing, I got super comfortable with this one place. And then I have had days where I would take the train to the city and and do the same thing as you, get nervous and just not even go.
Right.
You know, I'd be like, I'm just gonna day drink by myself now. I can't even. Like I'd stand outside of these awful bars and be terrified to my core to walk in there.
Right.
Like I was like, I don't know these people. I don't even know how to approach the host or whatever. There's like this weird process
Like
you
the
go
beginning, that's what the beginning story is how everybody gets their foot in the door and how they, their issues going through are very interesting.
And then like you iron out your set, and then you have like your first show, and then like you're waiting for like you see the crowd start to come in, and then it's just like a group of like 40-year-old ladies, and you're like they're probably a great time, but all you can think in your head was, I say cunt a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's all you think about. And now, I'm at the point now where it's like, oh, they're gonna love me. Yeah. they're gonna love me. Like
now it's the point. It's like, wow, all right, this is gonna be fun. Then.
It's gonna be fun. I wonder how they're gonna like my new cunt joke. Yeah. Like that's where I'm at now. Like it's just you just gotta.
Oh, you gotta power through it.
Though.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I have 3.5 years ish, so that's basically how, and that's where how I started, and that's where I'm at now. I still shit bricks before shows. You know, it's still nerves. It's still what it is.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
I'm like a host. A lot of guys ask me to host their stuff, which is
But do you
fine.
like hosting better?
I like.
He hates hosting.
It all depends.
I've gotten better at it because I host every week now at the mic.
Oh, that's true.
So
It all really depends. If it's guys that I know, like the One Eye Jack show that we did last on whatever. So I like hosting that because I knew every single comic. I was able to sit give them kind of like a personal little intro.
Okay.
I can bullshit with them a little bit.
Yeah,
I have I got a little roast
rapport
joke.
there with
I got a
them,
little roast joke for everybody. So if they want to bust my balls when they bring me on, I can bust them back when I bring them off. Like it's a nice little flow to it. But if I don't know anybody and I got to come up to you and be like, hey man, nice to meet you. You got anything you want me to promote a podcast or whatever? And then I got to know how to pronounce this guy's name. And I try to give the same showmanship that I would every show.
Yeah.
But that's where I kind of like. That's where I don't want to do it.
it makes it tougher.
Like,
I've talked about it on the show, like hosting I was hosting like these shows out east, and every time the host, I would ask like somebody what they want me to say, and by the time I got up on stage, I forgot their name, I forgot what their credit was, I screwed up their credit.
And a good host, it's actually you're doing work. Like you're keeping time.
It is.
You're showing the light. And your overall job is to keep the energy going. You're not supposed to. You're just kind of. You just kind of keep the flow going. So if the last comic crushes, you bring that next comic up right away. You keep that energy going. But if that last comic bombs, that's kind of on you to bring it back a little bit.
I think that's
There's
why a lot
some
of
comics who do too long, hosts who take too long of a time in between sets to do like their own mini set, and it's like, let's hear the next comic.
Yeah,
you
gotta
got to time that because like if I host, like I have my 8 minutes that I'll do up front. And then what I'll do is I'll try to do, because it's kind of the responsibility also to do a little bit of time before the headliner.
Yeah.
So people can take a leak and walk away from you. You know what I'm saying? So, but if it just works out where everyone's crushing, I guess those 2 minutes I was going to throw in about my drug bit, I guess I'll have to wait another time.
It's not needed.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just what it is. 'Cause it's more about the show, you know?
And that's why where the host will kind of has to figure that out, especially on a real show, you know. Do you like hosting, though?
Overall, I do like hosting.
Okay.
Overall, I do like hosting because I also feel I have a weird shot at redemption because if I don't do well on my opener,
yes,
I'm
yeah,
like, I'll get them
back.
like 3 comics
Right.
in, or like that Hopwin show that we did,
Yes.
that woke table right there.
Oh, my God,
I'm like,
brutal.
I'm gonna make them hate me. If they hated my guts to begin with, I'm like, I'm gonna make sure that everything comes out of my mouth. They're just like, ugh,
Yeah.
every time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm all in with these people.
And I
at
think
this
you
table.
succeeded at that.
I definitely did. There's a few random pictures of just because any pictures that were taken were like over their
From the
heads,
back, yeah.
and it was all of them just like, ugh.
That bothers me. I don't like people who go. I feel like today now people go to shows almost hoping to be offended and pissed off, and aggravates me so much.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I don't think they go to be offended.
But if you're that person, you have no business being in a comedy store,
Right.
a comedy venue.
But the thing with that, sometimes these shows are just in random spots where they're like, all right, I guess a show. But, like, I just think there's a certain generation now that shows up and they just don't know how to take stuff in. So, like, they're like that particular table, because I was on that show too, like, there was, like, one guy, they were afraid to laugh.
Yeah, there was like that one leader guy.
Yeah, there was
he
a
was
leader
like the
in
leader
there.
guy. He really was because they all looked at him, and if he smiled, they all smiled like a Bronx Tale. It's like I know I'm funny, but I'm not that funny. It was the same exact kind of thing. Like
It was very weird.
It was very weird because he was the wokest. You could tell.
You could tell.
I don't want to start pumping out stereotypes, but this guy was every
He was-
single
I
one
just
put
like
together.
how he was the
I'm
wokest.
not calling it the woke table for no reason.
Yeah,
you
he-
know what I'm saying? Like it was truly
Yeah.
a representation, and you could
Checked
tell
all
there were
boxes.
other members of their party really wanted to have a good time. You could see it in their faces.
You could.
I feel
you
like
could
some people
see
get
it.
sucked into the woke movement, and
That's what it is. That's exactly what it
they
is.
like. I do, but I want to have
Yeah, but
fun.
who's threatened by that guy? You know exactly the guy I'm talking about. Who's
Yeah.
threatened by fucking Mr. Shorts there?
Yeah.
He had cuffed shorts like
Oh,
like
no.
basically his nuts hanging out.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And he just sat there with his legs crossed and his boat shoes.
Oh, my God. It was brutal.
God.
It was just
It's
brutal.
funny you mentioned the pictures because I videotaped my set that night, and there was 2 people at that table, and the one girl was just massaging the guy's neck.
That's right.
And at one
The
point,
wokest guy?
no, and
That would have been.
Nah, the way it was set up, the wokest guy was anything. He was facing away from the.
Yeah.
Like
See,
if,
that's even worse because now he's looking at all of them.
yeah, so he had a
that's
whole
still-
row of tape. So, but this girl's massaging her boyfriend's neck, and during my set, like during one of my punchlines, you just see his neck go back like he was falling asleep. I'm like, oh Christ. But I think the reason why people ask you to host a lot is because you do have that fun energy on stage. Right. You're able to like sort of riff with the crowd. You're not like you talked about early on, just like doing your jokes, boom, boom, boom. But you're very much can go off the cuff, and it's still very funny.
Right. That's something that like that's where I've trying to like evolve now, and that's basically the ultimate challenge that I have when just performing in general. But exactly, I can totally like fuck with them on like if something just happens, like if something's like a heckler or something, I go, ooh, I can't wait. You know,
yeah, you're
like,
very good at that.
I can't wait. Like I cannot wait, but so it works out mostly.
Do you take any improv classes ever? Is that how, or was it just?
No, I am not classically trained. I listen and I make fun of that kind of shit too. I make fun of like the people that take the classes. You know, like I just you know.
Yeah, there was
it's natural.
It's like I get that you need to learn certain things. Like I had to be told, like, you know, whether as a comic or a host, you don't leave an empty mic. You don't leave an empty stage. So you wait until that comic shows up. You shake their hand. You put the mic. You put the mic in the stands. You like little things like that like I never would have thought was like regular etiquette. But I don't need to pay $300 to have someone to tell me that.
No, and we were talking to somebody recently that took a class around here, and he was like he learned the basics. He learned what he needed to know, and then had to relearn how to do it the right way.
Right.
And it's like it's good for figuring out how to do it and getting yourself on stage for the first time. But the way, from what I hear, a lot of some people teach, it's like kind of old. It's like an
outdated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But however, I will say, you get some interesting insight from some of those guys. So, I remember I would do Wednesday nights during like when things were like locked down, whatever things were. and we were barely like when we were like sneaking around, like basically like under cover of darkness doing these mics, right?
Yeah.
So on Wednesdays, I was bartending at Ziggy's, and Rich Walker was the host.
Yep.
And Rich Walker was a great host, a great dude. I got to know him a little bit, and he would just have this random insight that only a very seasoned comic from another generation even would have. Like, because every once in a while, these comics from the city would hear about us and be like, all right, I want to get some time in. So they'll take the train and they'll come in and we'll have some city comics out, doing the open mics. And Rich said, you can tell the city guys because they're the ones that are loud. They always have to have that energy because they're used to talking to the back of a room.
Yes,
it's packed out all the time. Everyone's loud and yada, yada, yada. With the Long Island comics, there's so many Long Island comics that can be like, so what's next? So what's up next, man? Like they can be mellow.
Yeah.
Neil's a very light
Neil, it's like
exactly. But Neil's also Neil can also be a city comic where he
no,
can
I'm not saying he
talk
can't,
above
but I
people.
mean generally, like when I always see him, he's very light,
like someone like him is
spoken.
very soft spoken and like his style is. Very,
Neil's got a way to like bring the crowd to him with that stuff, which is also an interesting way. It shows like experience,
right? No,
like he's
exactly.
able to bring,
but like just the way he was like that makes perfect sense because. All the city comics are always the one that are trying to get the crowd going. That was a good crowd tonight. Yada, yada. Meanwhile, listen, I don't acknowledge the crowd at all unless they acknowledge me first. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the way I see it. It's like this is my time. You're just watching the ramblings of a madman. Like I want you to laugh, but I'm not trying to. Don't ever worry about being in the front row with me. I'm not gonna bust.
Oh my God!
I'm not gonna say anything to you.
Yeah,
like,
I've had friends say the same. Like you're not gonna mess with me.
There's only certain comics, the one that are good enough
that are
to
good
just
enough.
pick apart people in a crowd and actually be funny. And that you know what you're getting into if you're going there.
Right. And also, who says that you're like...
Who are you? Are you important enough that you're going to get picked
like,
on?
Every comic's going to notice you in the front row with your boring...
It's usually someone who's got something that sticks them out.
Yeah.
In one way or another.
You've probably experienced somebody calling you out before if because...
Well, like... It's happened to you. This is a common occurrence.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's just I don't know.
But do you think it's easier for a city comic to adapt to Long Island or vice versa?
I think for the most part, it would probably.
It's tough.
That's tough because I want to say honestly, it's like
probably just as hard.
So
there's
a wise young comic that I know that his name is Zach Zorvich.
Former guest.
He always struggles with what he calls the artist entertainer balance. You know, he's like
Zach Zorvich said that exact phrase.
That's why I mentioned it was baffles me, and I never forget it for as long as I live because it came from him. You know what I'm saying? Because he says the most profound shit sometimes, and he's way smarter than he looks or comes off as.
That's hilarious.
And he always I remember we're talking about. He's a prime example of the guys that can just pick apart a crowd. And there was over the summer. When we were doing like backyard shows and shit like that,
because I wouldn't have picked him out of all of our guests.
No.
Well, yeah, you're right. When you say that, I'm like, I have heard those little tidbits of like, oh, look at that. But then he'll say something insane afterwards. You're like,
But he's like, I'm an entertainer, but there's still kind of art there. I still got to whatever. I don't want to just be that asshole that's known for like roasting people. I want to have to be saying something, which I totally get.
Oh yeah,
totally profound.
Yeah, you don't want to get stuck in one way.
That being said, there are way more artists on Long Island and way more entertainers in the city.
It makes sense.
That's how I see it.
I think you gotta like really learn both.
Yeah,
you have to.
Well, the reason why I think you have to learn both anyways, because if you want to be more than locally successful, you're going to have to be able to
get out
to different areas.
Plus, it's that classic like city versus suburb thing. So like most of the comics out there, everyone's trying to like make it and be like a rock star and be like the next whatever. So they're going to be loud and whatever. Meanwhile, you got a whole bunch of like everyone like from Long Island. They're all like on the fucking spectrum and introverts, and they're all just like I'm just trying to be the voice of my generation. Like so, I think it's easier for the city people to adapt to us over the other way around
because they also do hell rooms too. You know, they do bars where people aren't paying them. So like they're seasoned in that, and it's like I think a lot of Long Island comics get intimidated about going to the city because it just seems like such a big thing.
The content is different.
It's totally different.
It's different.
They're not all that good.
Yeah, it's true.
I love it.
It's true. It's totally true.
I was.
There's a select in every area. There's a select group of comics that you're like, wow, all right.
I feel like comics in the city would be more prone to being liberal, PC. then
it depends. Yeah,
it could go the opposite way. I could be wrong. I find I don't want to necessarily a small town, but someone from a town of Long Island is more likely to be less PC, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's probably
than
true.
Somebody born.
This is coming from me, who hasn't been to the city in over a year, and James,
who never has
No, I know,
who's
but
yet to perform in the city.
When you're around diversity more, I would just imagine you would be more PC.
We have a diverse group of head cases on the Long Island comedy
but
scene.
So in Long Island, some of these people are from, I mean, as segregated towns. It's what Long Island is. It's so everybody's separated. Yeah. So a little less.
But there's something about it that we kind of like I said, we all kind of transcend. Like it's all like we all have some weird connection between all of us.
Oh yeah,
you can.
There's a lot of that.
Even if you link like someone like Dom that you had, like you know what I'm saying. Like I'm cool with Dom, but like I'm not in his like immediate circle.
Okay.
But I'm just as cool with him as I am with and there might be comics that I'm friends with that don't even know him.
Yeah.
But now because I'm friends with him. You're James' friend. You know what I'm saying? And there's just so much of that overlap where there's no real. And
it's
that's
like its own scene now.
Yeah, and and the best part of it is we're way more supportive of each other than they are in the city. If a comic's coming on, don't take this one the wrong way, but if a comic's getting a lot of shows in the city, it's because they have 6 people that are paying. It doesn't matter how funny they are.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Every comic that has a spot in any club in the city, no one was just said, "Oh, you're funny. I want you on my show." It was just, can you bring people? So it doesn't matter. These fucking bringer producers, a lot of them don't even know. They can't even confirm you speak English, and they're like, "Oh, I see your friends. I see your friend. I see your friends with 30 comics on Facebook.
It is what it
you
is.
must be a comic too. Bring what it is." Meanwhile, we all produce shows like I want you on my show. You're funny. You've come to my mics. You put the work in. We support each other and we try to.
I've noticed that you guys are. It's like a little family of comics.
You're going to start seeing the same rotating group of guys like on every producer's show because it's
and now I'm even noticing it now.
This one put me on his show. I put him on my and it just kind of flows that way.
And you also you begin to respect the guys that are they're getting up every night. They're doing the work, and it's like. That's basically how you get booked on over here.
Over here, yeah. That's just you got to. They show that you're just putting the effort in. At least they'll give you a guest spot somewhere. They'll let you go. Even if you show up to showing up to shows is huge.
Huge. Oh my God.
Huge.
Yeah. Just hang out.
Just
be cool. Hang out. Because there's a lot of people that you talk to. I know some comics that they don't come out. They're there once twice a month. And then they're like, it's so cliquey. And people that say it's so cliquey,
the ones who are outside.
that just means you're not coming every night.
The ones that are so cliquey, say it's so cliquey, are the ones that show up, do their time, and then leave.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because my time is valuable. You don't have to hang after the mic, but stay till the end, dude.
Stay to the end.
Especially as of late. Now it started moving, whatever, but during the whole, when the curfew was
Watch all the comics go.
When the curfew was 10 o'clock,
yeah, you're right.
That was actually probably the best and worst thing to happen to the mic scene because during the heyday before this happened, mic coasters would run for 3 hours. There'd be 25 comics, and it would just be a rotating door. And not everyone realistically could stay all night till 2 o'clock, on a Tuesday night. So it was understandable. But when you were forced to only do your mic from 8 to 10, and there was a list, and you knew there were only 10 comics. They're like, I can stay for 2 hours. Mm-hmm. Plus, they had to go home. They had nowhere else to go, so they stayed.
Yeah.
So even though we had to get bumped out at 10 o'clock, it was a good mic. Comic 1 and Comic 10 got the same crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
important
huge. For mics. It really is.
That I agree with. And that's the other thing. I feel like if you are going to be on the mic, you should stay for at least the comics.
You should. And listen, sometimes people have shows and hosting mics, and that's a different story. But if you got nothing going on, just hang out.
Yeah, but
plus it's fun. We're all hanging out with our friends at this point. You know what I mean?
All now it's not. It's just we all got extremely close.
We really
in the last year.
In the last year, it's a really good group of guys.
In the last year, you've all had to rely on each other to keep it going because of the quarantine
and it filtered out a lot of bullshit.
Well, if you're not trying hard and you're not into it, you're going to use any excuse to get out.
Right. There was a lot of flood of bullshit coming through to these mics beforehand, and then. Once the reopen happens, I remember it was June 29th. If you look at my book that I have, the last set that I have is March 9th. And I remember it was March 9th because I wrote R.I.P. Biggie.
Yeah.
I
was about to say the same thing.
And then I turned
the greatest rapper of all time.
Turn the page, and it was June 29th. You know, so
Wow.
we that's how long we were gone, and then we went right back to it.
Yeah, I have it
We
recorded.
hit the ground running.
I thought my last set was the night the NBA shut down. It was probably around the same time. But oh my God, yeah, it's been fun.
It's over a year now. It's crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And but one thing I do want to get into. I mean, are we good on time? Let's see. We take a. Yeah, we're fine. So we talk about a lot of our medical conditions, and usually they're not that serious.
Right.
So I want to get into you've had a heart attack.
I have, yeah.
Yeah. So let's get into this. You first of all, you said you lost a bunch of weight. I don't think I remember heavy James.
I mean, it was just fat out of shape guy. You know, it was mostly the gut. You know, heavier in the face because like I say, I'm stocky. I'm like 5'7". I have a big neck. Broad shoulders.
I know this is the first time I'm meeting you.
Doesn't he look like our friend Gallo?
I'm gonna be.
Yo, he does.
You look a lot like one of our good friends.
He does.
It's kind of crazy.
It actually is kind of. I can't wait to show him the picture.
Yeah. Every time I see you, sometimes I'll see you walk in to a place,
right,
and I'm like, what the hell is Gallo doing? It's like it's pretty.
He is
crazy.
a much bigger Gallo.
Yeah.
Not in like a bad way. He's a tiny kid.
Nah, it's fine.
So so take us. What happened?
Right,
How old were you? What was the deal?
Refresh my ice.
Of
please.
course. Oh yeah.
And then
fresh my ice, and I'll get back to it.
We will get into this. So, it happened 2 years ago. Actually, May 3rd was the 2-year anniversary. And just as far as a lead up goes,
how old are you at this time?
I'm 35 at this time. 37 now.
Oh, so you're my age. That's good to know.
So, basically, the way it worked was. Genetics is huge in this.
Okay. My
grandfather on my mom's side, he had his first heart attack at 35.
Okay.
He had 3. He had open heart surgery.
Oof.
He died. Both my grandparents on my mom's side died of cardiac-related things in their 60s. My uncle, my mom's brother, well, granted, he did hard drugs and didn't live a different life. He died of a heart attack at 45.
Wow.
So that's what I have. And that's my mom's side. The Raniolos, you can't get rid of them. I knew my great-grandmother till I was 12. You know what I'm saying? Like you know what I'm saying? Like my grandmother now is a great-grandmother. Like that. So I'm either halfway through my life or a third. Like it's one of the two really.
See, my father having a heart attack is what gets me very nervous. But there's not many outside of him that I can think of. But anyway, let's
all right.
continue.
So coupled with that, I was a menthol cigarette smoker for 15-something years up until then. Did a lot of drugs, like not like consistently all the time, but like when I partied, I partied.
Okay.
A lot of like just fast food, fast lane kind of. I was kind of a crazy motherfucker, you know. Like I wasn't super wild
you
in
didn't
hindsight.
Think of your body
I was able to bring it in. Like I was never like super destructive. Where I was always the fun one. It was never like I was never a junk. I never got to heroin shit like that. Like I was never tragic with me. It was always like I was always just I was always a good time. I held a job. You know, maybe not nothing career worthy, but like you know, whatever. But
you took care of
I did what I could, and then. And then I kind of just like I decided I just want to kind of get my shit together. So, you know, I kind of put together a 5-year plan, and I really worked hard. And I mean, I worked my ass off. Like I worked harder than I ever worked in my entire life, physically, mentally, whatever. Still smoking cigarettes, still living. Because I worked before COVID. I was the concessions manager at the Nassau Coliseum.
Oh,
so
really?
I worked in venues. I worked in entertainment.
I
worked in an entertainment company working as a poker casino dealer. Yeah. So I was working till 2 a.m, sleeping till you know what I'm saying. Like it was just a wacky lifestyle.
Wasn't the greatest.
You know, eating Sonic and Wendy's, and it was just all this crazy shit. And then I remember it was March. I'm sorry, I keep saying March. It was May 2nd. I went and saw Avengers Endgame with a friend of mine, and I left the movie theater, and I went and stopped in Deer Park, and I went and stopped at Sonic because I just was hungry. So I went to stop at Sonic, and my plan was to meet my girlfriend over at Ziggy's.
What was your order from Sonic? I just want to know
Oh
what.
my God, it was like the double Sonic burger. It was like that pretzel hot dog. Like it was like a fucking
God.
order. Like,
Wow.
it was like, of course you had a heart attack, but like it was one of those. Like,
I just wanted to know what the heart attack
It was one
meal
of those. I you know what? Listen, if I ride by it again,
like the orders like this guy's gonna have a heart
exactly,
attack.
Fucking for real. So now another thing is because I've always worked so hard, it was like I always had back pain. So I would always have like nerve damage on my lower back and muscle pain on my upper back. So I always had weird
pains
tightenings and knots in like my back, right? So in this part specifically, behind my heart. And I never really processed that all this time, what most people experience as chest pain, I was experiencing as back pain. Because it was the artery behind
the heart
that got clogged up.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, I just fucking lifted too much, and I'm like, no, I'm having chest pain, So I'm like 3 bites.
Wait, so you can get chest pain in your back?
It's weird. It's the way it was.
Christ.
Because the artery, there's
it's
an artery
not in
right
your
there.
back per
But
se,
you feel
but
it
you
in
feel
the
it towards the back.
In the same way you feel a tightness in your chest, like they say, I felt a tightness in my back.
I've had a tightness in my back for 14 years
because
now.
there's muscle there. It's easy.
This isn't common. His tightness.
It's not. It's very uncommon. Right. All right. It's not. So
he's going to fucking
it's fine.
urgent care after this.
Better. Yeah. So I took a few bites in, and then my back felt weird, and all of a sudden my body, because they say your body tells you, your body knows. They say it.
My father saved his life, him realizing he wasn't right.
I took like 2 bites of this thing, and I'm like, I'm not feeling right. I just, for some reason, was like, I don't want to eat this anymore. And
what was the feeling? Is it nauseousness?
It wasn't
like
nausea. It was just loss of appetite.
Okay.
It was just,
so it's
I had
hard to
weird-
pinpoint.
Yeah, it was a weird.
My dad said the same thing.
just
Kind of
know.
like an indigestion, but not really. It was weird. I felt like I was weirdly clogged up in a weird way. I was like,
you just don't feel right.
Yeah, I just didn't feel right. Like I said, something. My body was just saying, just diverting all energy to don't eat any more of this. Right. Wow. So I'm like, all right, fuck it. So I drive over from Deer Park to Massapequa, and I was, like I said, still a heavy menthol cigarette smoker. And I remember taking like 3 drags of the cigarette and going, I don't want this. What the fuck? And I just flicked it out the window. I get to the bar. I'm waiting on my girlfriend. I go to have a beer. I had like 2 sips of the beer. I'm like, what's up with this? I go outside. Now, at this point, I start to feel a tingle where it's like, you know how like the feeling right before when you get pins and needles in your feet, like before it starts to hurt?
Yeah.
There's that weird numbness, that
yeah.
tingling numbness. So I felt it from elbow to elbow across my torso, almost as if my chest had fallen asleep.
Yeah.
Now, I've had anxiety attacks that felt exactly the same way. So I thought I was just having a panic attack for no reason whatsoever. Like I thought like it was just an onset of a panic attack.
You're panicking. How come you don't enjoy food and cigarettes and booze? What's happening?
And so I start walking around the block. Now, you guys can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just moving my arms.
You're trying to like stretch yourself
I'm trying to get the circulation back almost, it
Oh my
seems.
God,
And I'm like,
yeah.
this is weird. And I'm like, I do like 2 blocks. I do, now at that point my girl had showed up. She was with her friend, and I was like, I gotta go home. I don't feel right now. So I get in the car, and I, like I said, light up another cigarette, and I get 2 puffs in. I'm like, I don't fucking want this, and I throw it out the window. And the whole time I'm driving, like I'm jerking back and forth on the wheel, and I get into the apartment, and I'm like, you know what? And this is the scariest part. Like I said, I thought I was having a super fucking anxiety attack for no reason. So I almost popped 2 fucking.
Xanax or something?
I almost popped 2 fucking Dayquils and slept it
to
off,
sleep.
and
You
that
were
would have
blind in
been
your sleep.
the story of me.
Yeah.
That would have been it. Yeah, I was this close.
You think that would have
Dude, I
would
would
have fallen
have.
Did you?
asleep and had a heart attack in your sleep.
And then my girl probably still would have been out, and I wouldn't have been able to whatever. So I don't know what the deal was. So I went to lay down, and my body literally was thrashing me around in my bed. Like it was not, like it was like thrashing.
It was like
Like I was
uncontrollable?
possessed. Yeah, it was a weird kind of like I was like twitchy a little
Yeah.
bit, but instead of being like small twitches, I'm huge twitches. Right? So then I call my mom, and I'm like, my mom now, she keeps, she's up, and she's a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's convenient.
I hit her up, and I call my mom up, and like it's like now at this point it's like 3 a.m, and I'm like, she answers the phone. Sometimes she's like, hello. Sometimes, but she answers.
but mom
No,
knows
she
when
woke
the
up.
kid
She
calls
woke
at
up.
3
No,
in
no,
the
she
morning?
no, she. Sometimes she's up.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on? I go, hi, Ma, listen. I gotta go to the hospital. I'm gonna go to St. Joe's. I got Meredith to take me to St. Joe's because something's not right.
Something's off.
Something's off, and I'm going right now. And I told Meredith, I said, listen, I need you to take me to the hospital. I need you to come home right now. Take me to the hospital. I don't feel right. I'm scared. And I have never said those 2 words to another human being in my entire fucking life because
Yeah.
I'm that kind of toxic fucking asshole.
My father did the same story, but my dad was home by himself, called my mother, and my mother's known him for 50 years, however long, and it was like, I don't feel right. Like, and she said, I was like, it's like making me nervous. So she said, as soon as he hung up, he wound up calling the ambulance himself. Because like you said, when you don't feel right. Like, you just know.
And you know what? And it's like,
saved his life doing that.
I didn't want to call an ambulance or whatever. I was just like, I knew if I could get to the hospital, because I knew it was a hospital my mother used to work at. I can just.
And it's a good heart hospital. Not
not this particular one. but it
Is
was
this the one on Hempstead Turnpike?
Yes.
Oh.
No. That's where I went first because I was just like, you know what? That's
the death sentence hospital.
Well, no, but I knew enough. That was the one that I.
He
knew
knows what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you're talking about. But what's funny is we'll get to that because my mother worked there for 1,000 years, right?
Yeah.
So that's why it was just where I went to. Like, Mom, I need you to meet me. I need you to meet me there.
I live around the block from that, and they told my father if he went to that one, he would have died because they would have had to send him to Winthrop.
That's the hospital where I was born, and it's been all downhill since. I've been slowly dying since the day I was born.
I'm sorry, I keep on cutting more.
No, it's all right.
My father went through when he's telling me his story, it's reminiscent of my dad's.
Crazy, yeah. So now at this point it's 4 a.m. and I'm in the waiting room, being like chest pain, and they're like, all right.
Aren't they supposed to?
They're supposed to do a lot
you
of things.
You think it was
there.
like because of your age? They're like
no. My mother was. Everyone was with me. I was just like, hi, I have chest pain, I need whatever. So they bring me in.
But I mean, they didn't think it was so serious because of your age.
Yeah, I guess maybe. Oh, that's what I was saying. Yeah, that's probably it. Yeah,
they probably thought it was a drug-induced anxiety or some shit like that.
Whatever.
Yeah, and God knows how much we all have anxiety attacks
it happens
these days.
Probably all the time.
So now, my mother worked in that hospital for a long time. I had a job there briefly at a high school, so I'm familiar with a lot of the emergency medical terminology. I'm familiar with what bays are what.
What'd you do? Transport people or something?
Yeah, I was a transporter.
Yep.
So
I could see it in your eyes.
So I went to so I'm aware of like what a lot of the medical terms are, what the code terms are. Like I know a lot of the inside lingo.
Code red.
So the guy gives me an EKG in the triage room. He gives me the EKG in the triage room, and like this fucker is not even printed out of the fucking paper yet. Dude basically grabs me by like the back of my shirt, throws me in a wheelchair, and starts booking me towards the cardiac bay.
What are you saying at this point? Are you
Get me out of this
freaking
hospital!
I'm sitting there like I'm now at the point where I'm now. Now, granted,
wrong.
this whole time I'm telling you this story, in my brain I'm ramping up the percentage of what's really happening.
Anxiety, heart attack.
I'm having a heart attack, but no, I'm not. No, and I'm accepting it a little more.
You did think that you were having a heart attack.
It immediately passed my whatever, but I was like, nah, this is not all. If another creepy thing, if I would have died that night, you would have checked my phone. The last thing I looked up, heart attack symptoms, because I was not experiencing any of the standard tightness of the chest, numbing. I was experiencing none of that. The shooting pain, none of it. So I was like, all right, this is either an anxiety attack or I'm about to die.
How many people do you think their last thing they looked up when they look is like a symptom of what they're about to die of?
Honestly,
it's probably like
I think if
eerie, they're conscious enough,
if you're a younger person,
if you're conscious enough before that, like if it's not a sudden overwhelming of the symptoms and it's something that's kind of like progressing. Guaranteed it's in there.
I was sitting here before and my pinky toe went numb and I was like, what is it? What went wrong?
Know, I purposely don't look up certain things because I chalk them up to either anxiety or I don't want to know what it could be. I just want to be like, let's see if it goes away before I really get nervous. Oh, God. Like I have a pain in my side over here for about a week now, but then it got a lot better. But now after this conversation,
I know. Now we're all gonna be terrified. Go on.
So now this guy's rushing me through the ER. Yelling
they're trying to break in.
Exactly.
They're either that.
Can I get on the show?
Either that or they're nailing us in.
So now the guys now they're rushing me through the ER and they're yelling all this stuff and I'm just sitting there like, all right. And then
you're not freaking out at all.
I'm freaking out a little bit, but I'm still like reaching.
The fact that you're not having a crazy heart attack yet and you're still like you're like it's a light heart attack at the moment before it's
it was going to reach a point. But then oddly enough, I was feeling okay, all things considered, until...
That's what I'm saying.
Until they throw me on the stretcher, they start dumping baby aspirin down my mouth, taking all these fucking things, and then I just turn to the doctor. Like, I know what's happening, but I just go, what's happening? And the doctor just turns to me and says, you're having a heart attack. And I went, okay. Like, and that was basically it. Like, I just needed that confirmed. And it was only then that they're like, all right, now he's profusely sweating. Then they saw my everything spiked because...
And now it's hitting.
Now it's hitting.
Yeah.
So they fucking wrapped me up and they took me to St. Francis.
They can't treat.
They took me to St. Francis Hospital, the heart hospital. As soon as I knew that I was going there, I knew as long as I
make it
there,
good.
I'm good.
Oh my God, what a feeling that must! It's like
that ambulance ride was a little nuts.
It is because
I met
where
my
do you
maker.
live?
I live in North Babylon. No, but this was from Hempstead to. This was from.
I know where this
that
one is,
page
but I'm
just-
saying when you went to you chose to go to that hospital, you were coming from North Babylon.
Yeah, so
Okay, because
6
I live
exits.
literally around the block from that hospital.
Right.
Like I'm in Farmingdale, back streets, literally right by like the dairy barn. That's
Gotcha,
on
gotcha,
Merritt's
yeah.
Road. And when my father had it, they said if the EMT on the spot didn't notice that it was a heart attack, he realized right away that it was a heart attack.
Right.
And if it wasn't for that, and they took him to New Island first, or whatever it's called, St. Joseph's
St.
now.
Joe's now, yeah, it was New Island.
Yeah, it was New
then,
Island
yeah.
before, Middle Island. It's been changed. They said because they would have had to transport him to actually treat him, he probably would have died on
That's
the way
crazy.
to Winthrop.
Well,
But
you
the guy
did wait
knew.
a while. Like you waited a little bit.
But my dad was what they call it. They call my father's one the Widowmaker because it's one that.
Oh, he had the
you
widow.
feel
One that
okay.
Kevin- it's one that Kevin Smith had.
Yeah,
Wow.
they said you.
Yeah, on
It's the
stage.
aorta. It's the aorta.
My dad was a healthy guy, no symptoms, nothing. They said if he would have took a EKG 5 minutes before it happened, it wouldn't have even came up on the EKG. They said what literally happened is a piece broke off and caused it was like it's an immediate thing and it caused the blockage. But as soon as it caught the blockage, my dad, I guess because he's generally healthy, knew that he didn't feel right and called him. Like it was just quick enough. Thank God that he called.
Yeah. So.
But anyway,
No. So they brought me over. So I met.
I'm sorry, I'm the worst.
No,
Yeah,
dude,
no.
it's fine. No, it's one of those things where it's like
It brings up a lot of memories.
No,
so-
no. To me, it's not that. It's just like we were having a great time, guys. We were really laughing, enjoying ourselves. All right, I've been getting into this podcast a little bit. I'm like, this is a great podcast, and I'm like, I'm so happy to be a part of it.
You know,
and this
people-
is the very special
But
episode.
can I tell you,
of
these
the Adult
episodes are
Babies.
our most popular.
These are our
All
most
right,
popular. and
I
people
didn't
are
want
gonna
to
love
do the
hear
show
this.
once, and I decided I went on this whole depression rant, and we had like rave reviews on it.
And that was one of our best episodes.
well,
you're not talking to
Next
people
time
that
you
are
want,
healthy.
I know that, but next time you want to do another depression episode, you let me know on that one. But
Oh, good. we
Oh,
love
we'd
that.
like
We
to have
love
you
that.
back.
I'm on board with that, please.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
So I want to hear so you're in the
I'm
ambulance
now in the ambulance with the I can't remember the guy's name to save my life, but it was like this big burly dude.
Are these EMTs
Yeah,
or these
well, they're
like
paramedics. So that
paramedics.
means they're qualified to basically do like
Do
what
everything.
nurse practitioners can do.
Yeah.
Like they don't have doctor status, but they're like a tier or two
Yeah.
below. And there's nothing that's on one of those ambulances that's not in an emergency room. So that's why you'll notice those guys, while they might drive fast, they don't go all crazy
they need to be doing
Yeah.
stuff
they
while they're in
they
there.
have it
They're
all.
treating you in
they're
there.
all in there, right? So
okay.
they can't treat me or do they can do everything they can do. So
Did you get shocked?
no, because I didn't have a like I'm awake this whole time. My
No,
heart
but
never stopped.
I don't know if it ever stopped.
No.
That's what I'm asking.
No. So I went to this guy. I go, hey man, what's next? He goes, all right, well they'll either give you stents, or worst case. And I'm like, give me worst case. Give me whatever. Tell
They
me. dude.
bypass.
And he said they'll cut you open and bypass. I
Bypass.
go, all right, well, all right, cool. And then like I really accepted the fact that I might die any minute.
Yeah.
And honestly, I learned about myself. I learned that I cried more for the people I leave behind than myself.
Well, that's what
I thought about my
that's what it
parents,
is.
my niece, my nephew, my girlfriends. Like I
Yeah.
thought about everything else, and then I was like, it didn't process that I was gonna die.
Well,
it was that I was.
when
was,
you leave,
it was real selfish of me to have a heart attack at 35. What's wrong
I got
with you?
so much left.
You know what I'm saying? Like when my
God.
grandmother saw me in the hospital, she looked at me like I OD'd. Like she looked disappointed more than like
Yeah.
she's like the fuck you like. You know what I'm saying? Some of these doctors that came in to see me, well, immediately was like, oh, heart attack 35 must have been drugs. Like no, you're just a goddamn mess.
Yeah.
So they get me to St. Francis, and now by 5 a.m. I'm on the operating table. Now, and they do
So,
stents.
stents. My
Through
father
my-
got
through
stents
through
through
the
your
groin.
groin.
I
Yep.
have to be now. At this point, it's 5 a.m. I'm almost awake 20 hours now. You know, like, and I have to stay awake. You know,
before
so
are you under duress the whole time? At
They
any
kept asking
point
me
did
the
it
whole time.
ease up?
no, it kind of ramped up a little bit. They kept asking me the whole time, pain, scale of 1 to 10. How's your pain? How's your pain?
Because
And
they
it-
can't stop it, right? Is what I'm saying until they put
No,
the stent in.
Correct. So it's the blockage. So it's a ticking time bomb as to like the
Get it
blood
before
is
the
getting,
heart stops.
The blood is getting less and less frequent. The art you're getting less and
Yep,
less. The
you
intake's
gotta
less
get
and
it.
less. So and then it was only until I almost was on the table that I told them, all right, it's becoming from less discomfort and now a
pain.
little more pain. So they
What kind of pain?
it was
Sick of
kind of
stabbing.
like a out of breath, like trying to catch my breath, like Like when when you try to when you're a kid hold your breath underwater and you try to push it a little too much
and you can feel like
it
almost
was like
you
that.
suck in water.
It was a bit of suffocation kind of thing, and then so they gave me some, but I had to stay awake for it.
So how long is this going on? Like from I don't want to say the onset of symptoms.
I'd say the onset was probably 10 p.m.
Because I got before you got home, right?
Yeah, no, because I'd say me and my boy would probably went and saw the movie. Even if we saw the movie at
what'd you think of the movie?
7 o'clock. Endgame, loved Endgame.
Okay.
Although I can't watch Endgame without thinking about
what a name before you have a heart attack too.
That was the second part. If I would have died that night, they would have found fucking heart attack symptoms on my phone and a ticket with the word Endgame in my pocket. All right, dude? It would have been I would have been legendary, but it would have been fucking crazy as fuck, dude. Like, it would have been crazy.
That's insane. All right.
So they basically, you got to be awake for this.
Machiavelli.
They put the doctor was like, all right, normally a job like this, normally a procedure like this requires 3 stents, but I'm going to give you 4 just in case. So
my God.
4 stents in me.
Maybe because you're younger. He's like, let's give him a good shot.
And then I had to go through all these post-op testings. Now at this point, I'm up.
You're asleep. They put you to sleep?
No, I'm awake.
I'm
awake watching. I'm awake watching this on TV, trying to figure out what I'm looking at.
I think they have to probably keep you up, one, to keep your heart rate going, but they go in through here with a camera. And
all right, yeah.
So stent in your artery and balloon it open.
Yeah. Let me hear from the guy that it got.
Yeah, and that's what they did. The guy put 4 stents in me. Yeah,
they put 4 stents in you. And what do you feel during that? Like,
I don't feel anything because I'm under an anesthetic where I'm awake, but I'm about 5 seconds behind. Where they'll be like, "How you feeling, James?"
5 seconds behind,
and I'll be like, "Okay, I'm good." You know what I'm saying? Like I'm delayed. Like I'm on this weird delay. Obviously, there's no I don't feel they have local anesthetic.
Right. So you don't feel anything.
Not at all.
But you mentally.
The only thing I felt was bad for the person that went to medical school whose whole job was to hold my junk to the left so they can get in through the. There was someone whose entire job for that procedure was to just.
They had their hand on your balls.
Cut my balls
the whole time.
Just.
When you're going through those things, though, you lose all fucking. And
it was a girl too, so I felt extra bad. At least a dude,
dude, I got
it's
a physical
all right, bro.
With a hot
you know what I'm saying? It's
and I had
at least
a softie.
At least a guy can be cool about it. Look, listen, you're having a heart attack, dude. It's okay. I'm touching you. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
but a hot girl,
oh my God.
Some of those situations
come here often at 5 a.m.
The attractive girl.
Yeah. Or a stick. Just push it back with
2
a stick.
situations. I had a hot doctor giving me a physical, and I fucking turtle-headed, and it was awful. And then the other one was a hot nurse that I was trying to hit on was doing dental work.
Imagine being a nurse getting hit on by this.
And then I started getting tearing because they were fucking going to town on my gums and I was bleeding and in pain. Where she seen me basically crying, which she's like, "Are you okay?" God. I'm like, "No."
So after the procedure's over, they go and they bring me into the recovery room. Now I have to still do these post-op procedures.
Are you out of pain at this point?
I mean, now my groin hurts like a motherfucker. But
how long does the stent situation happen?
I think it was 40 minutes, dude.
I
think it's
under an hour.
I think by 6, I was in the recovery room.
Yeah.
All right. Now, at this point, I'm pushing being awake almost 24 hours. Now, I have to stay awake for all these random ultrasound procedures, and there's some ultrasound sound.
Are you really tired though at this point? I mean, I don't want to say.
I had a long day, bro. Yeah.
But I don't mean it like that. I don't mean tired in the sense obviously he's been through a lot, but sometimes when you've been through so much, you're wound up.
You're going on adrenaline?
Yeah, you're just
not
wound
anymore,
up.
Not anymore, dude.
Okay.
After it's all over,
it's one of those things where, like anything else, where, all right, this is going to be a shit day at work, but once I get through this, whatever. And then you kind of crash afterwards. Yeah. Imagine that, but you have a heart attack at the end of the day, And you're denying it halfway there, the whole way, so it's so... I got this ultrasound nurse that's trying to tech that's trying to give me this ultrasound, but I keep falling asleep, nodding off on her tits, you know what I'm saying? It was just got weird. And then finally I slept for half a day, and then I woke up on May 4th, Star Wars Day, which was amazing because I'm a huge Star Wars fan.
Yep.
And Basic Cable plays the whole trilogy, so they played 1 through 6. Or they might have played 1 through whatever at the time, but I got to watch every single Star Wars movie for the whole weekend.
You woke up to your favorite thing in the world.
I woke up to my favorite thing in the world, yeah.
How good are you feeling then?
At that point, I'm like, all right, I have a
second.
Here's the thing. I was kind of I kind of took the weekend off and went right back to work. I didn't really accept the fact that I had a heart attack for like another like.
There's
8
denial
months.
like reason.
I didn't really
There's,
accept it for another. Even I didn't really grasp the severity of the situation until my mom was talking to me about it. And now my mom's told me 1,000 stories about patients or whatever, but when she's talking to me about me
you.
in like a patient context, I was like, wow, this almost was the whole classic shocked heart pump, whatever, if he did an X, Y, and Z. And what's funny thing, you talk about the hospital. My mom actually went there the next day and found the nursing manager and was like, I want to let you know she basically told these people like, your son, your people saved my son's life by not treating him here. You know what I'm saying? Like by getting him out, you saved his life.
But one thing, anybody who is listening, I guess it's because of local, it's fairly good to know, is that hospital, they can't treat heart.
Right.
They can't treat heart attacks. Like, that's mind-boggling to me.
What's the situation, though? But do you go right to St. Francis? But you don't know
you're having it's all about knowing. If you know what it is, you get to St. Francis or Winthrop, whatever you think you can get to quicker. Is what they say are the two of the best hospitals around are those two.
Yeah. My pop-up, like I said, had his open heart surgery, like I said, at St. Francis, you know?
Yeah.
They're two of the best, so if you can get there, you fucking
now that I
get
mention
there.
it, he died at New Island.
Did he really?
My grandfather died at New Island.
He died at New Island. That's actually kind of odd.
When it was New Island.
Yeah.
I know a lot of horror stories about that place.
Yeah, I worked there for
Also,
a few years,
knowing all those horror stories, it's like, where do you want to go? I'd rather take my chances getting to Winthrop than going there.
Right.
Personally,
that makes sense.
Just from my own personal experiences.
Yeah.
But I
honestly, just to wrap up this part of the story, because I'm done depressing everybody.
Yeah, you're not depressing anybody. This is actually really interesting stuff.
So I will say though, since then I haven't had a cigarette, so I cut out smoking.
You quit that day.
I quit. Yeah,
you had about 7 of them on the way while it was happening.
They said that they say the hardest part is like the first 72 hours, but I was in the hospital.
I heard that too. The first 3 days,
and
that's the actual physical addiction.
And I was in the hospital, so I managed to bypass that. I got a Juul, but honestly, I used the Juul for like a month. Mm-hmm. And then like it was not a thing. It was like whatever. With the exception of because I'm from Massapequa, so every 6 months I go to the cardiologist and I get a clean bill of health, and I swing it to Massapequa and I have some All-American.
Hey,
other than All-American,
you only live once.
That's a great routine.
But one meal isn't good. One meal here and there.
Other than All-American, every 6 months and the very occasional drunk Taco Bell, I've cut out fast food.
Yeah.
I eat pretty clean for the most part. I don't do.
Hey, it's happy that you had it and that you got the help you needed.
How many years has it been now since?
2. It was 2 years last week.
How long was it before you were not nervous about picking up physical? Not that I don't know how much physical activity you do prior, but were you nervous about doing things that would maybe strain
like
your
I said,
heart?
I was before I was. I mean, it was still part of my job, but before I was manager at the Coliseum, I was the beverage supervisor.
Okay.
So there was the beverage manager, and then he had an underling, and I was his underling.
Yeah.
And one of the worst days was keg day. When you get a keg delivery for a fucking venue,
yes,
and you have to double stack, not even that, double stack, fucking kegs. Now, someone like me, to give you a visual, I'm physically strong enough to lift a keg straight up like this, but it won't clear the keg. So now I got to go a little more up and over, so it's a lot of strain.
I got you.
And everyone was telling me, dude, you can't be doing that anymore, whatever. But after a while,
there
was more people telling me not to. But when I got the clearance from the cardiologist, it's like you can pretty much go back to doing whatever you've been doing.
The doctors will push you because your heart is a muscle and it needs to be.
So it needs to
needs to be exercised.
That's exactly it.
So you can't baby it. You can't push it too hard too quick.
Right.
But once you get the clear bill of health,
I'll tell you the one thing that bothered me the most about it, and like in a way, it's still kind of bothering me now, but it's what it is. So you ever notice like whenever someone like our age, like something like near, or whenever someone like has like that near death experience, doesn't matter if it's our age, but or not, but they always suddenly like have like this weird moment of clarity where they quit their job, they get a divorce, they fucking have their vision quest, and they go climb a mountain and whatnot. I went right back to work, dude. I had none of that. I thought I was gonna have like this epiphany, like what have you been doing with your life?
Care of yourself, not necessarily.
Yeah,
but you
like
did have an epiphany beforehand where you were like thinking about like your whole family, how they're gonna feel.
I think it puts things in perspective for everybody, just different ways.
Yeah, but at the same time, it was like I had a heart attack at 35, dude. Like I didn't hit a wall. I went through the wall and then kind of brought it to a jog, and then I was like, all right, all right, maybe I got to cut
But you
the
still
shit.
did it.
Yeah, I did.
Sometimes,
I did,
no matter what it takes to get there, how long it takes. Listen, I've had close things, and every time it's good news, it almost not that I wish I had bad news, but like some people could use that.
my
Or need that
cardiologist
fucking
said,
hit in the face.
my cardiologist said that's way more common than you would think. He's like, first of all, don't make the mistake of thinking that you're the youngest patient I've had.
No.
So with a similar style, more the kid that he was referring to was way more of a genetics percentage than dumb lifestyle choices percentage, but still at the same time,
you had a mixture of both, though,
he's
right?
He's like more people rather just want to get on with their lives and just put that behind them and not be a victim to it, not be a slave to it. Like, I still to this day like bust my mom's balls like if I'm visiting for the weekend.
I had a heart attack.
If I'm over for like dinner or whatever, mom's like, James, can you take the garbage out? I go, I have a cardiac condition. I can't do any heavy lifting. Like, I'll just still say shit like this. Should take out the fucking garbage.
You got to make light of it somehow.
By the way, I love the fact that you said something that how many people from Massapequa probably said the same thing. I went to my cardiologist, clean bill of health. Went to All American to celebrate. That's the most Massapequa thing that's ever said. There's probably like 8 guys online in Massapequa that just went to their cardiologist. Like, all right, time to celebrate a little bit. Oh, well, dude, I think that's a really interesting story.
It's a great story. And
thank you so much for sharing.
I think it's. I do appreciate you for sharing it because a lot of people don't like to talk about stuff like that. But I think it's it also is good. You're speaking to mostly probably people around our age. Who,
that
listen to your body.
More people than I really realize have said to me like, "Yo, you might have saved someone's life by telling that story."
It's true though.
Like I never really. This is probably the first time I ever really like long form told that in its entirety. But like a lot of people have just been like, "Wow, I gotta get myself checked out."
But I feel like even at your age, I mean, before you had it, you were probably thinking at times because I know I am, and I'm sure you do. Like, I'm still young. Like,
but I joked about it all the time.
So did
I would just be like, I would just be like slamming like cheeseburgers, or like I would be like Atlantic City, just blasting, doing coke, doing craps, just like I'm gonna live forever. Like you're gonna have a heart attack in 2 years. Yeah, probably. Fuck it, bury me here. I don't give a shit.
But that's what I'm saying. I joke about it all the time and say
I was like, yeah, probably. I'll die young. I don't give a shit. Like,
and then it happens. You're like,
it was like this weird tragic where I was like, I'm probably not gonna see 40. I'm probably gonna just do something dumb, and then it almost happens, and I go, all right, pump the brakes, dude. Like, what are you doing?
Exactly.
How much weight did you lose afterwards?
Right now, I'm down about 32 total because I had the heart attack at 240.
Okay.
And I'm hovering around 208 right now. I'm actually at an active weight loss competition, so that's why I know my exact weight.
Yeah, I know you're always talking about you're losing weight and everything.
So I lost like 15 pounds initially when it first happened, and then this happened in May, and then in August, me and my girl we went to Boston. And I discovered that I've never been to Boston before, and I discovered
beautiful city.
I discovered the North End, and I just stuffed face with pastries and Italian food for the entire weekend.
You earned it.
And and then whatever, and I gained a little bit of it back, and then it wasn't until last October that I was like, all right, you know what, I'm gonna do this dumb sober October thing. I'm still gonna smoke weed, but I'm not gonna drink, and I'm really gonna make a conscious effort, and that's when I started the clean eating and everything, and I have my spikes. I drink. I've been going through some stress this last month, so I've been stress eating a little more. But I'm trying to get to 200 and then see where I'm at.
That's great, man.
That's
dude.
As long as things are on the up, we're happy here, though.
They're on the up.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I can't thank you enough for sharing that story.
No, absolutely, I appreciate it.
But I do want to.
Before we get there, I do want to. We have one thing that I noticed. Did you see we had a new review?
No, I did not.
All right, I'm going to read it for you. So, James, we get reviewed from time to time. We always ask our fans to leave reviews. You never know what you're going to get. So I'm going to read this review. No, let me read it.
I know. I just like to go along.
All right, guys. Here's what it says. Long time, first time. 4 stars.
4 stars.
Out of
5.
All right.
The name I don't recognize. It's A-L-A. It doesn't matter. All right, here we go. Put in and listen to me.
I'm
listen
listening.
to it. Big fan here. I laugh out loud during every show. Something else that seems to be happening in every show now is that Chick finds a way to bring up his fondness for his ass play. Sometimes with no discernible segue at all.
Yes.
At times he seems to be vividly narrating his fantasies, and other times it's as if he's writing a step-by-step prostate exam for Proctology 101.
I love this person.
Speaking for myself, and I bet a few others, we get it. Is he using the adult babies as a platform for finding his next partner? Is he afraid we may forget this fact about him from one week to the next? Does he forget that he has frequently mentioned this on the podcast already? Whatever the reason, maybe it's time to leave it out of the conversation. I miss the days of wondering what crawled up Chick's butt to make him complain that week. Not what he put up there for pleasure.
That's fantastic.
Let's get back to witty banter, funny games, exciting guests, and the next round of Where in the World is Carmen Maraboli. What a review, and I can't believe I saw it before you.
I don't check it as much as everyone thinks,
But
I do check it.
You used to check. He used to
I usually check it weekly.
You used to check it. In the beginning, you would check.
I would check it all the time.
Now we got a decent amount, so you're like, you don't.
No, I just don't. I know they're not coming every day, but
this gem came in.
That is as much of a gem
Now,
as we've gotten. That's why I wanted to look at it to see if it would ring a bell to me.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to keep you away from your phone.
Because there's people I know that get disgusted by me talking about it.
Oh,
so
yeah,
part of me's thinking, is it one of them just taking this shot to shoot me down?
See, that's what I'm trying to get at, because I don't know. It's an anonymous name. So, like, whoever did it.
Let me just see it on yours.
Yeah.
The name. No.
It's nobody that we would know.
I don't think so.
I mean, as far as the name. It's got to be somebody we know.
It's one of the most well-written reviews
it's fantastically well done.
Like, that's why I'm thinking this has to be somebody we know.
Which makes it even funnier, because now we have to figure out who it was. So, James, I don't know how much of this podcast you've delved into, but Tommy here has talked about his
what I enjoy pleasurable.
Yeah, a few times.
So, like I said, when I've been listening, it's funny that they had mentioned that specifically, because I'm now I just so happen to be listening to them backwards.
Okay.
Because your last three, or at least your last 3 out of 5, had comics. You had Tardo, you had Christian, you had Dom. You had Dom, and it was at the Dom show that you had mentioned Brandon's podcast, and your guilty pleasure was, you called it prostate milking. But like,
no,
but then
prostate
or whatever whatever you called it, prostate pleasures.
That's,
and then like,
that's what
and then like, now that I really think about it, if I were to turn my phone on right now, I swear, and we go to my most last listened podcast, like, it'll be the Dom one. It'll probably be right where Dom, when you ask Dom if he eats ass, and he goes, "Yeah, man, yeah, you know, it's like, yeah, of course, you know, of course." Like, yeah.
I think maybe I'll stop talking about it on here.
But what's funny is the fact that they mention that you say it with such frequency, and I'm working backwards.
So you've heard it.
You know what
probably.
I'm saying? So this is only the first time I heard it, but
you haven't even heard the first time.
No, but now
brought up.
I'm basically gonna listen to all the ones with the comics on it, and then I'm gonna start at 1 and move forward. That's gonna be like that's gonna be the way I do it. But it's just so funny that was the topic of conversation when I got home and stopped listening to you guys.
It's funny how you stopped listening when that was the topic of conversation.
So
maybe this person,
maybe they're on to something.
No, it just so happened to be.
I love it. I think it's hilarious.
I love it too. This is why
I
want more reviews, because we enjoy them no matter what they say.
Yeah,
we love them.
God, it's so funny.
I do like 2.5, 3 miles a day at Belmont. When 4 days a week.
Betting on the ponies?
What? No, Belmont Lake, the park.
The park. You run.
Okay. I hardly run. I run for the first half mile, and then I struggle for the rest. It's bad.
Because you're betting the ponies?
I do that. But you know what? There's a deal. Like, he's right to think that about me. But like,
I know him a little bit.
He knows me. He knows enough to know that if I mention Belmont, I mean it could mean the track, the lake, or the new Islanders arena. It's definitely the track if it's me. Like, trust
me. Exactly. I see James Raniolo. He mentions Belmont.
You're not wrong. Yeah. He'd probably think I'm riding a horse before I'm running around the lake. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
But I listen to, when I do the run, I listen to the music, but when I walk for the rest of it, like, I listen to a lot of the podcasts and whatnot.
Right,
so it just so happened to be timed out where, and I take it from the car and then into the car and then I go. I was finishing up the Christian one and then I went into the Dom one. And it just so happened to be when I got home and I turned the car off. It was just you asking. No, because I remember I was in front of the apartment when you asked Dom.
I might have a whole episode on Brandon's about it, so I hope this person tunes in.
No. Brandon stopped doing his podcast when you asked him to do the ass one. He's like, I don't know how to say no to him, so we're just gonna end the podcast.
He just fucking.
Oh God, he asked him.
He just tanks it,
dude. He asked Brandon the night of the Mark Norman show. He's like, hey, we're still up for that ass podcast, right?
He's like, yeah, bro, definitely.
He's like, yeah, all right. Oh God,
Brandon, if you're listening, I'm down.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, I'm so glad that I was worried. I saw this on, I don't know what day, maybe Sunday or something, and I saw it. I was terrified all week. I was like, I want to read this to him on the show.
Before I get it.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want you or Chris to see it. I was like, I think it'll be better if we.
Oh no, that
if
worked
we
out
find
perfectly.
it on the show. So
I am glad. I also think these reviews, people read them, and like it shows that we have like people might be want to listen. Like, oh, what is this idiot talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, again, like we always say, thank you guys for leaving the reviews. They help out.
They really do. We
and they're
love
great.
them.
And you guys are all solid with that. So we appreciate you all.
And one more thing, I do have a pick this week.
You better wait. So you're just doing picks? It's turning into Chick's pick.
Well, I told you, I'm still rewatching. I'm on a Game of Thrones. I'm rewatching the series, so I haven't watched a lot of new stuff. But a new thing that came out on Netflix is the new Son of Sam documentary.
Ah, okay. I saw that.
I did see that advertised on the main screen, but
it is called Sons of Sam. What was it? Sons of Sam: A Descent into Darkness. It was on Netflix, and it's basically this one journalist's investigation into it, and how he doesn't think it was just the one dude.
He doesn't think it was Berkowitz. He thinks it was like multiple.
He thinks it was Berkowitz along with
other
a few other people in the cult. Okay. And there's a lot of evidence that he has and things that kind of connect, but there's not a lot of, like, I guess, hard evidence. But you see, it's just the whole docuseries is about how it's a conspiracy and how it almost ties into the Manson cult. And
interesting.
Just that whole satanic.
Okay.
But it's pretty interesting.
Is it one documentary?
I think it was 4 episodes.
Okay, all right.
But it was actually really well done, and it was very interesting. A lot of us who weren't alive during that time. And my mother knew the guy who got shot and lost his sight.
Oh, I think we talked about
the guy who was with one of the most famous murderers in that whole thing was something Moskowitz. I forget her first name. Karen, I think, maybe.
Must have been a Karen.
She got killed, and her boyfriend got lost his eye, and my mother and my aunt knew because it was in there. They lived in Brooklyn.
It was in their neighborhood.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure my parents were like dating during that summer.
Gotta
of
stay
Sam,
out of
and
Lover's Lane, man.
And my dad grew up in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And by that point, they had moved out to Long Island. But my dad would take my mom out, Brooklyn. But like they stayed away from Brooklyn during that time.
So people were petrified. Girls were changing their hair colors and hair lengths and stuff. Like it was bad.
Christ. Yeah, I'm down. I like a good.
So it was really good. And it's not too long, just 4-hour episodes.
Okay, all right.
So
fair enough.
That's my
saw
picks
I was
for the
thinking
week.
about it. Cool. So it's funny. You're just.
I'm just done throwing. Like I watched one of the new movies on Netflix two new movies, and I thought both of them were bad. So I'm not gonna just put them up there for the sake of doing it.
You have complaints about them, or
they weren't that bad.
All right. So you're one pick chick 2 weeks in a row.
Yep, one pick chick.
All right, guys. Well, listen. If you made it this far, we really appreciate you. And
do you have any events or
Yeah,
shows or anything?
I
Instagram?
just kind of. All right. Well, my Instagram is at Jimmy the Geek 017 because I don't know how to use my Instagram. It's my gamer tag, but don't follow me. Really, like
you
listen,
might get some follows after this.
Fine, you'll see my name on Facebook. That's my actual Facebook name. I don't have a real whatever. But no, I just kind of finished up my round of shows. But I have a weekly open mic at Destination Unknown Beer Company.
And what a great mic! I'm sorry to interrupt.
It's a fucking great
it's
mic.
Fantastic.
And it's from 6 to 8, and it's perfect kind of mic where it's halfway in between the mics that are going on in Nassau and Suffolk. So depending on where you are, you can hit 2 mics in one night. I'm going to start producing shows there as soon as possible. And the very next show that I am producing is you're actually going to be on it. It is June 19th at One Eye Jack's on the patio. Be prepared. We're going to send that flyer out ASAP.
I'm looking forward to that show. And
I have no real shows coming up right now. I just got the open mics and producing that next Jack show.
Hey, well, thank you for joining us. We really do appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having me,
James Raniolo, guys.
Peace out, guys.
Later, dudes.